Hello, my name is Megan Wedgewood, and I am a student at the University of Arkansas. Today I will be discussing Moshe Safdie's architectural design and creation of the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, located in Bentonville, Arkansas. On December 11, 2011, the opening day of Crystal Bridges, Moshe Safdie, the architect responsible for creating the Crystal Bridges Museum, took the stage to commemorate the completion of the museum and the opening of its doors. As he began discussing the details of his creation, he spoke of his hope for what the museum would become through his efforts. I wanted to make a place that was quintessentially Arkansan, a museum where art and nature merge seamlessly, and a building that celebrates the art within it. Almost 2 years since the day of his opening speech, locals and tourists from around the country can see that Safdie's hopes have been realized. His work in collaboration with the museum's founder, Alice Walton, has brought a respect for American art into a town that has never had such exposure before. Michael Leha, author for Art Bulletin of New York, describes this coming of art, explaining that Crystal Bridges wants to connect American art with a different public, largely white but rural, southern, with limited art experience, economically diverse. It has learned to feel excluded from the kind of culture on display here, and to react to the idea, art museum, with an instinctive anti-elitism and anti-intellectualism. The Crystal Bridges Museum brilliantly disarms such visitors, and offers itself as a place for them to feel at home with art. This excerpt from Leha's article, among many of its kind, is an indicator that Safdie's creation is being experienced by masses. This spectacular interest is no doubt due to the impressive portfolio that Moshe has accumulated throughout his global career and experiences, in congruence with the impressive works that are displayed within his structure. As recorded in his biography on his website, Safdie Architects, Moshe Safdie was born in Israel in 1938, but would move to Canada at a young age, where he would stay until his acceptance to McGill University. During his time in collegiate study, Safdie would earn a degree in architecture and create what would later become the basis for one of his greatest projects, Habitat 67. Since the materialization of Habitat 67, Safdie has brought 47 other architectural artworks into being. His designs can be seen around the world, with locations in Singapore, the United States, China, Israel, and many others. The motives for his creations are equally as diverse as their locations, in that Moshe has designed museums, government buildings, airports, libraries, and resorts, as well as various other structures. Specifically, Safdie has been credited for the design of the Yad Vashem Holocaust History Museum in Jerusalem, Israel, and the United States Federal Courthouse in Springfield, Massachusetts, to name a few. When visitors first approach the Crystal Bridges Museum, they are greeted by a seemingly minor building constructed entirely of molded concrete with equally portioned square columns. Though the building creates a slight contrast against the cleanly kept greenery in the surrounding environment, it is every bit overshadowed by the massive silver tree standing in the courtyard just 20 yards from the bench area. However, as visitors turn the first corner to enter the elevator hallway, they see the stunning view of the water below and the majority of the clustered building. It is very evident from an aerial view that the lines and beam structures were of great priority in constructing the museum. Each building of the main quad, when seen from above, leads the eye to the center of the structure, creating a pattern of evenly spaced lines built or molded out of different materials, diverse yet harmonious with its composition. The shape of the complex itself is nearly indescribable, with arc-shaped ridges leading to blunt sidewalls. Scattered patios decorate the inner courtyard, creating nearly random outlets for visitors to view the middle pond closely. Keeping the theme modern, yet unlimited to the expectation of what will come next, descending into the true entrance of the museum, patrons enter the gift shop area, and the doors leading into the admission area. The gift shop is a work of art in its own. The ceiling is completely lined with wooden arches from wall to wall in a wave-like formation. This effect brings another dimension to the shopping experience. As the entrance to the museum ends, it is then that viewers see the impact of the architecture on the interior. The decor is minimalistic, with the beam ceilings, rolling concrete, and glass windows speak volumes as each patron moves about and sees from different perspectives. Each view, from outside and from within, provides for a new experience of the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. While it is difficult to limit the unique structure of Crystal Bridges to one methodology of art, I believe its creation is most cohesive with that of Marxism. As quoted in A History of Western Art, Schneider Adams writes, Marxism art historians, and those influenced by Marxism, study the relationship of art to economic factors, for example, cost and availability of materials, within its social context. Though the use of available resources and funding is only one facet of Marxism, it is one that resonates throughout Safdie's claimed philosophy and goals in the building of Crystal Bridges. An example of this would be the use of indigenous flora around the entire campus and working to maintain the pre-existing waterways. To the local Arkansan, it would only be culturally acceptable to keep with native species and materials as Arkansas is considered the natural state, something we as a society value. More complexly, the building of crystal bridges has brought art to a new location where economically it had not been able to exist before. This idea of connecting a part of society to the benefit of art is much like the Marxist interest in the disparity of art exposure between the upper and lower classes. I believe that Safdie's architectural design of crystal bridges shows a slight connection to the design of Cubism, and more so to the postmodernism architecture and international architectural movement that we are still seeing today. When looking at the sharp contrast between the varying levels of each building and their shapes that allude to the essence of Cubism, crystal bridges also emulate hints of Cubism in the multidimensional and geometric shape that blends cohesively yet create multiple different planes. In contrast, it is the eclectic combination of materials, shapes, angles, and lines that fit crystal bridges into the postmodern movement. Much like Zaha Hadid's IBA, crystal bridges is designed with curved walls and differing angles, making both works of art unique to postmodernism. Also among the comparable postmodern architectural design is Frank Gehry's Solomon G. Guggenheim Museum in Balboa. This building uses a variety of metal shapes to create an expanding illusion, much like that which we see in the metallic lines of crystal bridges. Though crystal bridges has connections to both Cubism and postmodernism, it also shares some characteristics of the international style of architecture. This architecture style sought first to meet the needs of those who would employ the structure, but to secondly include an aspect of art into its creation. As Crystal Bridges has successfully brought art to the people of Northwest Arkansas, we see that the building is meeting the humanistic needs. When we look deeper into the presenting of the art itself, we see that the architecture adds that much more to what we visualize in the paintings and sculptures that it holds. I chose to discuss Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, as I have a great appreciation for its homogeneous placement amidst the valley surrounding it and the water sources that it embraces. I believe that it is of immeasurable importance to maintain the natural resources we are given and to consider their preservation when we as humans build upon them. As a resident of Bentonville, I have witnessed the growth of our area in the past decade. Like the many additions before it, I had the privilege of watching Safdie's creation come to life as well. I remember specifically one walk that I took with a friend on the trails that led to where the museum now stands. The construction site itself was very different from any other that locals could see driving down a road in the same city. It was not cluttered with the matter of deforestation, but with the roots of trees and plants to be potted, something I found to be impressive. Now that I have visited the completed campus, I recognize what I saw that day as the beginning of a beautiful oasis for art in a town that had previously been a desert. As I explored the different areas, I felt as though the buildings themselves were quite harmoniously constructed, even in light of their varying materials, stained wood, concrete, and glass to name a few. Visiting the museum at night, I stood in awe as the gentle light of the complex reflected out onto the surrounding bodies of water and amidst the native trees and flora. Crystal Bridges, to me, is a place of artwork made to hold many others of the same magnitude. Thank you.